sorry.
like if you have like 2 minutes, if you can tell us a little bit of how your I don't know, your journey for the non-lucrative visa has been so far.
Sure. And I think just only Jorge is on the line besides you. We live in Georgia now.
Well, we have 7 people connected, actually.
Oh, okay. Then, but we live in Georgia, so Miami is the location for the Spanish Consulate and BLS that we used. We did all the work ourselves, starting probably in late April of this year to pull the documents together. Again, obviously the most time consuming was the FBI background check and translation apostling. And we were married in Germany 44 years ago. So we had to go back to Germany to get an updated marriage license from them because that's only valid for 6 months. But other than that, we pulled everything together as necessary. The Miami Consulate was very, very helpful, both BLS and the Consulate, in answering questions via email. So we appreciated their work an awful lot. There was obviously a lot of slowdown when student visas.
I remember you asked me about your marriage certificate from Germany, like whether you had to sworn translate the apostille itself that came in 4 different languages. Yeah. And the Miami Consulate was very helpful at answering you like you didn't.
Yes, I sent them a copy of the updated marriage license that was stamped in Germany by the official government. And since it was a national document, I thought, well, it may have to be apostilled. So I sent a copy of that document straight to the consulate. And I also copied BLS just so they would have a file on it too. And the consulate immediately wrote me back and they said, your marriage license update in 4 languages that's stamped in Germany does not have to be apostilled, and it will be accepted upon your arrival.
So let me tell you about this. Also, this is a big, a big controversy because supposedly, as per European Union rule, any of the documents by any of the European member countries should be accepted by any of the European member countries in any official process, including getting visas. So if you got married in any of the European Union countries, you shouldn't need to apostille it. Sworn translate is another story, yes, because it's it's in German and the officer in Spain doesn't need to, doesn't speak German, needs to understand it, but wouldn't need the apostille because the apostille, the function of the apostille is to make it legal to any of the countries in the Hague Convention. Okay. So, but the European Union said you don't need to apostille it because we are European Union members, so we don't need to do this extra step because we are part of the European Union, guys. Yeah. Right. So nobody cares about that rule.
Yeah. And fortunately for us, our original marriage certificate and the updated marriage certificate was in 4 languages, like you mentioned, and so. The Spanish Consulate in Miami said, this is good for us. It answers all of our questions. The biggest thing that we have seen on your blog site and the websites for expats going to Spain is getting an appointment. And obviously everybody looks very, very rigorously, sometimes for months in advance, to try to get an appointment with BLS because you're trying to work all your US plans or your UK plans in order to get your non-lucrative visa or get an appointment for your non-lucrative visa. And we got our appointment for the 11th of September of this year, but we got it on the 29th of July, which was the very first day that BLS opened up the appointments for September. And every time I get a question on the Blogspot or on one of the other sites on Facebook for expats, I always say, as we get closer to the end of this month, start looking every day, a lot of times, early, mid, all that, to see when they open up, because it could be the 28th of the month, the 29th, the 30th, or the 31st, or even the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, or 4th. And in Miami, we asked, and they said, well, we observe U.S. holidays as well. So So if it's an American holiday, they will probably be closed. So that may delay when they open up their appointments, but it is not for the next month, i.e. we got our appointments when they first listed the appointments for September, and we got it in the end of July, the 29th of July. It wasn't for August, because August were already done. They were already filled. So you have to look in advance a little bit in order to do that. But that's the biggest thing that we had. The appointment that we went to, we arrived before about 30 minutes before our appointment. Our appointment was at 8:30 for one and 9 for another. I was able to get 2, which was very unique and very helpful. Sometimes they accept 2 people on one appointment, but sometimes they do not. And so we did get 2 appointments back to back, 8:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. And we arrived about 8 o'clock. They opened about 8:15. The security guy looked at our appointment letter and he said, sit over here. And the total time that we were in the BLS office with our documentation was about 35 minutes. All they wanted us to do was take the documents out of its packets, because we had them all arranged in order according to the BLS orders. And then they looked at them very, very briefly and said, these will be going to the consulate probably tomorrow. Step over here, take your picture, sign the 790-052. So we didn't sign that before we got there. We signed that there at the BLS office, and then used a debit card to pay all of our fees. So it was very, very simple. We didn't have to use cashier's checks or bank drafts or any of that stuff. They took a debit card, not a credit card, a debit card for all of our fees. And we were gone within 35 minutes. It was very underwhelming. The beauty of it is, obviously, we did our homework, because that was on the 11th of September. On the 12th, that was Thursday. On Friday, they were going to send our documents. BLS was sending our documents over to the consulate for their reviews. So on Monday, the following Monday, the 15th of September, we did get a text message from the consulate saying that they have received both of our applications for a non-lucrative visa, and we should hear within 1 month. On the 29th of September, which was basically 18 days after our meeting with them, we got a notice. We both got a notice that via email that the visas or the passports were ready to be picked up. They don't tell you if you're approved or not, but they do say that it's ready to be picked up. So we flew back down to Miami the following week and went in and just went in because we had our approval or our notification of ready for pickup. And the security guy let us in, and we handed it over to the representative in BLS. And then 10 minutes later, she called our name, and we picked up our visas in envelopes and our passports in envelopes. We opened them up, and sure enough, the visa was stamped inside our passport, and then we left, and that was it. So that's all I have on that. Any questions?
Wow. I just had to follow up with Bruno, and I saw this.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Maybe I make a different video just for this first-hand experience in Miami, Bob.
Sure.
Oh, and one more thing. Apparently, YouTube says you're going to love watching this video right here. I think you should watch it.